Part 44. Dimensional Chosen, only I know Saitama is the strongest. Author, Mungbean Garden. Chapter 431. Fanya appeared in the forbidden space. The surroundings are still pure and deep white, with no end in sight. Congratulations, you performed extremely well in this forbidden area, completed the ultimate task, and received the highest rating. The settlement rewards are as follows. You get 800 free attribute points. Ability acquired, Holy Text, Initial Collapse of Jade. Fanya was surprised. He didn't expect to be able to obtain 2 abilities, and the attribute points were twice as many as those in the previous Forbidden Land. It seems that the further you go, the more difficult it is to complete the tasks in the forbidden area, and the rewards are more generous. Wow, Fanya, I got the power of death. Shumanzi on the side said happily. Although her contribution was low, she had the bonus of Fanya completing the mission, and she also gained very rare abilities. Sure enough, following Fanya is the right thing to do. This time I finally caught up with that little girl Suzuki-u. She thought happily. To be honest, she didn't actually put in much effort, she just beat up Daezu. Fanya took care of all the hard bones. If it was really not Fanya, I'm afraid I might not be able to survive in the forbidden area. After all, the bosses there are more terrifying than the last. Thinking of this, she glanced at Fanya and showed a smile. Fanya, it's all thanks to you this time. To express my gratitude, how about I treat you to dinner? Fanya skillfully distributed all the points, then raised his head and said with a smile, no, I still have things to go back to, so next time. After saying that, Fanya walked towards the passage. Shumanzi was stunned. She had to know that she was from the Shu family, and there were countless people who wanted to curry favor with her and invite her to dinner. But this time she came to invite her in person, but Fanya unexpectedly declined. Am I really not as charming as that Suzuki-u? Well, don't worry, the days are long and I don't believe I can't win over that Suzuki-u. Shumon said secretly. This time she and Fanya completed the Forbidden Area mission together. She had a great liking for Fanya, so she had the idea of snatching Fanya away from Suzuki-u. But she also knew that Fanya was a very serious person, and if she was exposed too obviously, he would definitely be disgusted. So she thought about it carefully and decided not to rush. After all, there is still time. After Fanya walked out of the passage, he found that there were very few people around. He looked at the sky and saw that it was already night. I still want to talk to Suzuki-u, but forget it's already evening, I'd better go back and take a rest. Thinking of this, Fanya immediately flew towards his residence and disappeared in an instant. Brother, was I dazzled just now? I saw a golden flash. Did that person just complete the golden legendary mission? One person rubbed his eyes, looked at Fanya's back, and asked his friend. You are not dazzled, someone has indeed completed the entire Forbidden Area mission. Is it too strong? His friends were also stunned. Could it be the legendary god? Did he get through the 9th Forbidden Land again? A man came over and said. It's possible. Possible. Everyone else agrees. Then there was another golden flash, and Shumanzi walked out. She looked around, but she didn't find Fanya's shadow. Damn, I ran really fast, I still want to say a few more words. Forget it, I'll go find Grandpa and ask him for advice. Thinking of this, she disappeared immediately. Another golden flash, my God, has the 9th Forbidden Land become so easy to complete? I said, don't even look at who that woman was just now. That's the little princess of the Shu family, Mr. Shu's favorite apple. Yeah. So she is Shumanzi. Damn it, I think I'm in love. Just you. Come on. Others laughed and said. After Fanya returned to the room, he felt sore all over his body. He washed briefly and then lay on the bed and fell asleep. The next morning, it was already 3 o'clock in the morning when he got up. I have to say that I had a very comfortable sleep, and my long-term fatigue was instantly relieved. He stretched and prepared to go out. Hey, what's going on? What is this thing? As soon as he walked into the living room, his eyes were caught by the things on the table. What are these? He was a little confused, so he walked up and took a closer look, only to find that it was an invitation. Fang Ye looked carefully and saw that it was the general who invited him to attend the banquet 3 days later. It was said that many big figures from the city would attend, so the general also invited Fang Ye, hoping that Fang Ye would also get to know these people. It feels unnecessary. Fang Ye has always been a loner, so naturally he doesn't want to waste time attending any banquets, but it would be a good idea to ask Suzuki if she would like to go with him. Thinking of this, Fang Ye felt that he hadn't seen Suzuki for a while. I don't know what she is doing. After thinking about it, Fang Ye threw the invitation on the table and went out. He took out his phone and started calling his girlfriend Suzuki. Dudu. Hey, who is it? The phone rang for a long time before Fang Ye heard Suzuki's voice. It's me. Fang Ye. Fang Ye said quickly. Oh, it's you. Fang Ye, why are you calling me? Suzuki asked. I want to tell you that we have a party in 3 days. Let's go together. What do you think? What kind of party? It was a business gathering, invited by the general. Well, then I won't go. Suzuki refused without hesitation. Suzuki was originally the daughter of a large family and often interacted with people in the business world. She went to such banquets countless times. She was quiet by nature and didn't want to go to such busy places, so she refused. Fang Ye frowned slightly when he heard this. No, Suzuki, don't you want me to go alone? I never thought of letting you go. Those people always like to talk in roundabout ways, which is not interesting. Suzuki's words left Fang Ye speechless. So what did you say you were going to do? Fang Ye had no choice but to ask. I want you to go to dinner with me, how about that? Just go with me, okay? We haven't dated in a long time. Suzuki said coquettishly. Well, I can reluctantly agree to it. Fang Ye thought about it and thought it would be good to have dinner with Suzuki, so he said. Yeah, that's great, my boyfriend is the best. Suzuki shouted happily. Okay, stop talking so much, wait and meet at the restaurant you often go to in the commercial street, and then eat. Well, it's such a happy decision. Suzuki agreed wholeheartedly, and after finishing speaking, he hung up the phone. Fang Ye left his residence, and half an hour later, he stopped at a restaurant not far from the commercial street. This restaurant is very famous in the city. It is located in the suburbs, with elegant environment and considerate service. And the chefs here are all top chefs in the world, and the dishes they make are very delicious. When Fang Ye came to the restaurant, Suzuki was already waiting for him. Dimensional chosen, only I know Saitama is the strongest. Author, Mung Garden. Chapter 432. She was wearing a light green gauze dress, her hair was tied into a ponytail, revealing her delicate white forehead, looking fresh and cute. When Fang Ye saw Suzuki for the first time, his eyes lit up, and a flash of surprise flashed in his eyes. Fang Ye knew that Suzuki was very beautiful. But he didn't expect that Suzuki was so beautiful. Her skin is fair and delicate, like mutton fat jade, crystal clear. The facial features are also very delicate, with a high nose bridge, bright red lips, and lively eyes, like stars in the sky. Such a face seemed so charming to Fang Ye. What a beautiful girl! Fang Ye. When Suzuki saw Fang Ye, he smiled and waved to him. Fang Ye was stunned for a moment, then came to his senses, nodded, and stepped forward. How are things? Did you miss me? Fan Ye teased Suzuki and said. Don't mention it, I've been stuck at home with my dad recently, learning the ancestral kung fu. I've been so tired lately that I finally took this opportunity from you to come out for some air. Suzuki said. Really? Ye took Suzuki to sit down in a quiet place, and the waiter came to put down the juice and drinks. By the way, Fan Ye, have you cleared the 9th Forbidden Land? I heard from my dad that 2 people completed the 9th Forbidden Land, and I knew it was you as soon as I guessed it. Suzuki asked. Well, yes, that's right. To be honest, the 9th Forbidden Land was so difficult that I almost failed. Fan Ye told the truth. Suzuki nodded. She reminded Fan Ye and said, Fan Ye, you have to be careful. Recently, I heard that several people are inquiring about your identity. My dad said that the Agent Organization of Gods has been looking for you recently. Did you have a conflict with them in the Forbidden Area? It's okay, I just killed one of their bishop-level people. Fan Ye said lightly. He reached out and took the order and started ordering. Just kill their bishop-level people, and that's all. Do you know how powerful the Agency of Gods is now? It is said that they have controlled several cities now. Suzuki looked at Fan Ye in disbelief. She was now very worried about Fan Ye's comfort. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. I gained a lot in the Forbidden Area this time, so I'm not afraid of them. Fan Ye said with a smile. Well, then you should be careful too. Suzuki knew that Fan Ye was very powerful, so she also believed that Fan Ye was not afraid of those divine agents. Huh. It's Fan Ye, you are here. A surprised girl's voice sounded from the side. Fan Ye turned around and found that it was Shu Manzi who had completed the Forbidden Area mission with him. I saw Shu Manzi walking over generously, smiling at Fan Ye and saying. I said I wanted to treat you to a meal, but I didn't expect to meet you here. Otherwise, I would treat you to a meal, how about that? Before Fan Ye could speak, Suzuki said warily no, this time I invited him. She also knows Shu Manzi, who is the little princess of the Shu family. She has not dealt with this Shu Manzi since she was a child. She wants to take away any good things from her. Now that she said she wanted to treat her boyfriend to dinner, she couldn't help but be wary. It's okay, I can invite you too. Shu Manzi ignored Suzuki at all, sat down generously, and said with a smile. This bad woman. Suzuki was so angry that he didn't know what to say. Shu Manzi, please respect yourself. Suzuki looked at Shu Manzi coldly and said. Ha ha ha. Self-respect. I think you are jealous of me. Hearing this, Shu Manzi smiled disdainfully and looked at Suzuki mockingly. I won't be jealous of you. I'm not as boring as you. Suzuki curled her lips disdainfully and said. Ha 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 ha. Hearing Suzuki's words, Shu Manzi couldn't help but burst into laughter, making his branches quiver with laughter. Fan Ye stood aside awkwardly, not knowing what to say or which side to help. At this moment, a man of medium height and with his hat lowered suddenly walked towards Fan Ye. He suddenly pulled out a knife from his sleeve and stabbed Fan Ye in the back of the heart. But Fan Ye suddenly turned around, grabbed his wrist, and then twisted hard, throwing his body onto the table and holding him firmly in place. Who are you? Why did you come to kill me? Fan Ye asked with a frown. As soon as he arrived at the restaurant, he had already released his domineering aura, and he was afraid that the scene would happen. Unexpectedly, he actually expected that someone was going to assassinate him. Shu Manzi and Suzuki were both startled. When they recovered, they realized that Fan Ye had captured the entire assassin. Haha, Fan Ye. You have offended our divine agent, do you still want to live? Now that we have issued the highest killing order, every agent of the gods can kill you as long as they meet you in exchange for generous rewards. The man said sadly. Humph, want to kill me? Just you? Fang Ye said mockingly. Although he knew that he would definitely be retaliated by God's agent for killing the Red Bishop, he did not expect it to happen so quickly. Haha, that's right, just me. After the man finished speaking, his whole body suddenly changed and expanded rapidly. Damn it, he's going to transform. Fang Ye was taken aback and couldn't care less at the moment. He grabbed Suzuki and Shumanzi and rushed out of the restaurant immediately. The next second, a huge monster figure emerged from the restaurant. It waved its hand casually and turned the entire restaurant into ruins. At this time, countless people fled in panic, and some people did not escape at all and were trapped under the rubble. You wait for me, I will deal with him. Fang Ye said in a deep voice to Suzuki and Shumanzi. Both women nodded, indicating that they knew. Fang Ye rushed towards the monster at this time. He roared and punched the monster. Boom! There was a loud noise. The monster was thrown away by Fang Ye's punch and landed on the wall of a building, making a big hole. Wow! Fang Ye, you are so awesome! Seeing Fang Ye defeat the monster with one punch, Suzuki and Shumanzi couldn't help but cheer. What is this? Fang Ye said proudly. Ha ha ha. Fang Ye, I didn't expect your fighting power to be so strong. Shumanzi looked at Fang Ye with eyes full of passion and admiration. Suzuki, who was on the side, was a little angry when she saw him. She also knew that her boyfriend was very good, so he would naturally provoke some other women. But as long as it was Shumanzi in front of him, he absolutely couldn't do it. Thinking of this, she looked at Shumanzi with strong hostility in her eyes. And Shumanzi already knew that this was exactly what she wanted to do on purpose, to make her opponent Suzuki uncomfortable. But before she could say anything, she saw the situation in front of her changing again. The monster that Fang Ye had knocked down stood up again. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dimensional Chosen, only I know Saitama is the strongest. Author, Mungbean Garden. Chapter 433. He roared and rushed towards Fang Ye, which surprised both Suzuki and Shumanzi and said in unison, Fang Ye, be careful. Rest assured. Fang Ye nodded and rushed towards the monster. He used the ability of the holy text to quickly rush in front of the monster, and with just one punch, he completely destroyed the monster. Blood and flesh splattered, and the monster's huge body collapsed instantly. Fang Ye returned to Suzuki and Shumanzi and asked with concern, Are you okay? Fine. The two said. It's fine. I didn't expect that the organization of God's agents would be so crazy and come to assassinate me on the street. Fang Ye said with a very ugly expression. During the fight between the two, fortunately no innocent people were hurt and the restaurant was only destroyed. At this time, a large number of soldiers came to the scene, led by the general. The general had sharp eyes and saw Fang Ye at a glance. He walked over and greeted Fang Ye. Fang Ye, are you okay? I happened to be passing by here and saw you and that monster fighting. Fang Ye couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw the general. Yes, they are the mysterious agents. They have a grudge against me, so they want to assassinate me. So that's the case, so I'm afraid it's not very safe here now. How about you come to my house and sit for a while? The general said in invitation. Fang Ye nodded and immediately agreed. Now he and the agent of the gods are on a par with each other, and the general has many people like him under his command, so it would be good to cooperate with the general. Moreover, the general is also very disgusted with divine agents. Okay. Fang Ye didn't refuse and immediately took Suzuki and Shumanzi to the general's residence in the general's car. The general's residence. After everyone sat down, the general spoke. Fang Ye, we have known each other for a long time, and I don't hide anything. I really need your help now. Now the agent of the gods has set off a villain, and several cities have been captured. Now almost half of them are under the banner of the agents of the gods. When Fang Ye heard this, he was stunned. Why haven't I heard any news? Yes, we didn't get the whole news either. Suzuki and Shumanzi looked at each other and said in unison. Both of them were daughters of large families, and they had not even heard that the agents of the gods had started a rebellion. Now the entire news is absolutely confidential, and only a few people in the entire city know about it. The purpose is to prevent panic. The general said with a wry smile. But I believe I will tell everyone in the end, but we need to ensure that there are no undercover agents of God here. So that's it? Fang Ye nodded, expressing his understanding of the general's approach. What do you want me to do? Fang Ye asked. He knew very well that the general's invitation to him this time was definitely asking for something from him. Now we know that when these agents of the gods rebelled, most of their armies were demons, and we have found out that they all came from the 10th forbidden city they controlled. So we hope you can enter the 10th forbidden area, destroy the stronghold of the gods' agents, and stop these demons. The 10th forbidden area? Fang Ye was a little confused, but when he thought of the Red Bishop, he had a guess in his mind. The 10th forbidden land is now in the hands of God's agents. The information we have received is that it is a world where angels and demons fight, called Diablo. We hope that you will be able to stop the demons and, if possible, bring the angels to our aid. The general spoke his mind. As far as we know, the agents of the gods have mastered the 7 forbidden areas. Now there are different forbidden area creatures appearing in different places. We cannot compete with our strength alone, so we want some foreign aid. I see. Fang Ye nodded. He had doubts again. If the entire forbidden area is under the control of an agent of the gods, then it must be tightly defended. How should I enter in this way? When I went to the forbidden area before, I didn't find the location of the 10th forbidden area. The general said yes, those forbidden areas were moved to their secret places by agents of the gods using unknown methods. It's normal that you don't know. If you want to get in, you may need special techniques. Do you still remember the forbidden space? The general asked. Well, I remember, this is the transitional space into the forbidden area. Have you not? Fang Ye suddenly thought of something and looked at the general. Yes, you guessed it right. We can use forbidden space. According to our research, these forbidden spaces are actually equivalent to the location of transfer stations, but under normal circumstances, other forbidden spaces are closed. But we have a way to force a channel open. Send you in. The general said slowly. So that's it, I understand. Fang Ye nodded. Because this time is very dangerous, are you willing to go to the 10th forbidden area? And since my people need to garrison the city and guard against those divine agents, I can't spare any manpower to help you. Said the general. What else can I do? After all, I am on the same level as I am now with the agents of gods. They are going to assassinate me in the street. Fang Ye spread his hands and said. Good. If you agree, then I will bring people here in 3 days to build a forbidden space channel. The general said with satisfaction. In his opinion, Fang Ye is powerful and has repeatedly broken through several forbidden areas. He can be said to be the best candidate for this mission. If he goes, nothing will go wrong. The general then sent someone to escort Fang Ye to his home and sent other soldiers to protect him. Fang Ye, do you really want to go? Call me, I can help you too. Suzuki said. She had a worried look on her face. Don't worry, no need. Don't you know my strength yet? And this time is extremely dangerous. If you go, I will be distracted. Fang Ye persuaded. You must know that this is the world of Diablo. There are groups of monsters. If you are not strong enough, you will not be able to survive there. Although Fang Ye was strong enough, Suzuki's was not. If it came to a critical moment, he wouldn't be able to help her, so he refused. Oh well. Suzuki had no choice but to agree. And Shumanzi also knew his own strength, so he didn't go with Fang Ye. Fang Ye, I'm going to ask Grandpa to send 1 or 2 masters over, who are all good at breaking through 4 or 5 forbidden areas. How about asking them to help you? Shumanzi suggested. No, no need. I can do it alone. Fang Ye refused. In fact, he is already preparing to enter the world of Diablo alone. After all, he is relatively familiar with the entire world, so as long as he is safe, he can handle it. All right. Shumanzi knew that Fang Ye was very powerful, so he just gave up. Don't worry, I can really do it alone. After all, I am a master who has entered 7 or 8 forbidden places in a row. Fang Ye said with a smile. Dimensional chosen, only I know Saitama is the strongest. Author, Mungbean Garden. Chapter 434. It's not too early now. I'll have the general's men send you off. Fang Ye looked at the sky and said. Well, then you have to be careful. You must come back safely. Suzuki and Shumanzi said in unison. Don't worry, that's for sure. Fang Ye assured. Although the two of them were still a little unwilling, they left helplessly. Fang Ye then returned to his residence, ready to take a good rest and prepare well before going to the 10th Forbidden Land, the world of Diablo. Forbidden space. Fang Ye stood here with the general's men. At this time, I saw the general's men taking out a machine and operating something inside. General, they are. Fang Ye asked strangely. They were aiming at the passage to the 10th Forbidden Area. The whole thing is a calibration instrument. Only with it can I find the coordinates of the 10th Forbidden Area, open the passage, and send you there. The general explained. Fang Ye suddenly realized. Then the general asked someone to start the machine. All I saw was flashes of light. An image is displayed on the screen of the machine, and this image is marked with a gray world. What you see now is that this world is the 10th Forbidden Land. As long as you pass through this passage, you can directly travel through the world of Diablo. The general explained. Fang Ye nodded, looked at the screen, and began to observe. Then he saw a beam of light shooting straight into the sky and shooting into the distance. A channel has been opened. Fang Ye, remember, you must be very careful, it is very dangerous there. I sent a master before, but not even a single message was sent back. So if you really can't complete the task, come back. Remember, your life matters. The general warned. Don't worry, I will definitely complete the task. Fang Ye said with confidence. After all, he had passed through several people in the forbidden area, and the entire forbidden area was completely settled by himself. It would be easy to stop the God's agents through this forbidden area. That's good, we're here waiting for your good news. The general nodded and said nothing more. Then I went. Fang Ye walked towards the passage. He looked at the gray world at the end of the passage, and the corners of his mouth were slightly raised, revealing a cold smile. Agent of God, just wait for death. After saying that, Fang Ye entered the 10th Forbidden Area. Ding dong. Entry into the world of Diablo has been detected. Post task now. A meteorite fell on New Tristram, and countless zombies and undead began to wander around Tristram. This was a sign of the coming doomsday. Several heroes have already traveled to Tristram, and you are one of them. Conditions for passing the level, prevent the end of the world from coming. After listening to this, Fang Ye felt a little strange. It turned out to be a third-generation plot, and it had just begun. It seems that what the previous Red Bishop completed should be the second-generation plot. But that's okay. I know the whole plot well, so I just have to find Leia and kill Diavolo who is stored inside. Fang Ye, who was familiar with the plot, formulated the simplest and most direct plan in an instant. After killing Diavolo, Hell will lose a giant. Then I will reach cooperation terms with the angels, lead them to destroy the demons in Hell, and then return to the real world. This task will be completed. Thinking of this, he immediately went to New Tristram to find Leia. If his guess was correct, Leia should still be in the Cow Slaughter Hotel, and he would definitely be able to find her if he went there. Sure enough, when he followed the path at the top of the mountain and kept going up, he arrived at the gate of New Tristram. At this time, Captain Rumford was seen leading the soldiers to fight against the zombies, and it seemed that the situation was critical. Sure enough, it's exactly the same as in the game. Fang Ye nodded. He stepped forward and knocked the zombies to the ground with just 2 punches. Very relaxed. Captain Rumford on the side breathed a sigh of relief and said to Fang Ye, "Thank you very much, hero. If it weren't for you, I really don't know what I would have done just now." "Haha, you're too polite, it's just a little effort." "What happened recently?" Fang Ye asked. "It's hard to describe what's going on here. A meteorite landed on the cathedral, and now countless zombies and skeletons have emerged. Now the outside is dominated by monsters. It's almost like the end of the world." Rumford sighed. "Deckard Cain is now trapped inside the cathedral, with only his granddaughter Leia escaping. Now at the Cow Slaughter Inn." "Oh, hell, what is that?" As he was speaking, he suddenly panicked and his voice changed. Fang Ye looked back and saw countless more zombies rushing towards him, including a huge female zombie with pustules everywhere on her body, which looked very disgusting. "Don't worry, let me do it." Fang Ye sneered. "Although these zombies are numerous in number, they are very weak. You can completely eliminate them without any effort." After saying that, Fang Ye rushed towards the zombies. He swung his fist and slammed it towards one. The zombie was instantly exploded and turned into a mist of blood. Roar! When the other zombies saw this, they screamed and wanted to surround Fang Ye. But Fang Ye was not afraid at all. He swayed and moved quickly among the zombies, and because his speed was too fast, he pulled out phantoms one after another. What a powerful martial arts skill! Captain Rumford couldn't help but exclaimed when he saw this. He had never seen this person before. He originally thought he was an ordinary traveler, but he didn't expect him to be so powerful. Others had shocked expressions on their faces. "This guy is so strong. It's actually possible to do this." A soldier stared at Fang Ye's huge shadow. "This is our savior," Captain Rumford said to the others. Everyone nodded. In less than 10 seconds, Fang Ye had already eliminated all the zombies present. Solved, it should not happen again now. Fang Ye circled around and said slowly, "Thank you so much, hero. You can take a rest at the Cow Slaughter Inn, and you can put the account in my name. As a hero of New Tristram, you deserve such preferential treatment," Captain Rumford said with a smile. "Thank you very much." After Fang Ye finished speaking, he walked into New Tristram. After he entered, he scanned for a week, and sure enough he found the Cow Slaughter Hotel. At this time, he hurried over and saw Leia treating someone bitten by a zombie. "Injured villager. How could it be useless? Grandpa handed me the herbal method, why can't I cure them?" Lee looked at the villagers in front of her absently, not knowing what to do. At this time, she saw the villagers moaning in pain, and the breath on their bodies gradually changed. Almost in the next second, those villagers were already turned into zombies. They roared towards Leia. "What?" Lee was taken aback, she didn't expect such a thing to happen at all. Dimensional chosen, only I know Saitama is the strongest. Author, Mungbean Garden. Chapter 435. Fang Ye, who was well prepared, easily eliminated the zombies that the villagers turned into. The frightened Leah finally came to her senses. She said to Fang Ye with a hint of gratitude, "Thank you, stranger. If it weren't for you just now, I really don't know what I would have done." "This is nothing." Fang Ye waved his hand. "By the way, I heard that a meteorite landed." "What happened?" Fang Ye said knowingly. "It was the scourge, the little star that fell from the sky and landed on the cathedral, where we happened to be. When the meteorite fell, it created a deep crater, and my uncle Deckard Cain was trapped in it. For these zombies, you can carefully ask Captain Rumford at the entrance of the village." Leah spoke. Fang Ye knew that the first task was coming. It has to be said that the plot proceeds step by step. According to previous inferences, after helping Captain Rumford, Leah will ask Fang Ye to go with him to find his uncle Deckard Cain. But this requires going through several levels, too. How can Fang Ye wait for this? Now that Leah happened to be alone, she might as well get rid of the power her mother gave her, which was Diavolo's power. The memory in her body is still sealed, so she only needs to peel off Diavolo's power. Anyway, he had already offended Diavolo in the death world, so he was not afraid of this time. Thinking of this, the way he looked at Leah changed. Fang Ye reached out and grabbed Leah. Leah was caught off guard and was grabbed by the shoulder. "Stranger, you!" Leah was taken aback. She had no idea what was happening. Fang Ye suddenly attacked him. "Don't move, Leah. I feel there is an evil force in you, and I want to help you get rid of it now, so I'm sorry." After saying that, Fang Ye knocked out Leah cleanly. Phew, the next step is to expel the dark power from her body. Fang Ye placed Leah on the ground, then closed his eyes and used his mental power to reach towards Leah's body. Deep in Leah's heart, there was an empty black space. Fang Ye knew where the source of Diavolo's power was. "Ah, I smelled something familiar." "Young people." In the deepest part of this black space, a huge shadow stood up slowly. It slowly walked out, and its huge body came into Fang Ye's eyes. This is none other than Diavolo, one of the hell demon gods. "Diavolo, I'm sorry, you are not welcome here, so you have no choice but to go out," Fang Ye said with a sneer. "Haha, I didn't expect that Adelia's plan that had been hidden for so long would be discovered by you. It really surprised me. I have an impression of you. In the memories from my previous clones, I remember that you were a very difficult opponent." Diavolo looked at Fang Ye and said calmly. "That's right. Although I wasn't the one who killed you at that time, we were tied and there was no winner. But this time, I will kill you and completely rescue Leah," Fang Ye said with a cold snort. "Haha, it can be seen that you are indeed a very good opponent." Diavolo continued, "But you are also my prey, young man, your current strength is far worse than mine." "Yeah." Fang Ye smiled slightly, then narrowed his eyes and looked at Diavolo. "Your strength is very strong, but you probably don't know my abilities." "Oh. What ability?" Diavolo looked at Fang Ye doubtfully. "I have mental telekinesis skills, and in this spiritually constructed world, I can exert 200% of my power here," Fang Ye said calmly. "Snort. No matter what your abilities are, my power will never be lost to anyone. Just wait to die." Diavolo shouted angrily, and then rushed towards Fang Ye. At the same time, a spear appeared in its palm and stabbed straight into Fang Ye's chest. "Haha! Just you want to hurt me?" Fang Ye laughed, then raised his right foot and kicked Diavolo in the chest. Bang! Fang Ye's kick was very tricky. He almost turned sideways to avoid Diablo's attack, and then kicked Diavolo hard on the chest, sending Diablo flying several meters away. Fang Ye used 7 levels of strength for this kick. Poof! Diavolo's chest suddenly collapsed, and blood gushed out. "Diavolo, let me see where you are going." Fang Ye snorted coldly. I will make you pay for your arrogance. Diavolo said angrily, and then disappeared. Want to run? No way. Fang Ye snorted coldly, and then pursued him. Diavolo's speed was indeed astonishingly fast, but his movement trajectory was captured by Fang Ye. During this process, Fang Ye also kept using his mental power, trying to use telekinesis to attack Diavolo. This skill is very interesting. It uses one's own telekinesis to transform into a spike that breaks into Diavolo's mental world, causing him to be temporarily dizzy. Sure enough, after Diavolo attacked with this whole move, his speed suddenly became much slower, and there was a brief stagnation. But a moment later, Diablo's body suddenly flashed with a black light, and he woke up. Haha, boy. This trick is of no use to me at all. Diavolo looked at Fang Ye coldly and said. That's it? A smirk appeared on Fang Ye's face, and he suddenly used a skill. Mental control. With his whisper, the space in front of Fang Ye suddenly distorted, forming a huge crack, and Diavolo was in this crack. Diavolo's kick was in the air, and then the cracks closed together, trapping Diavolo firmly. Then Fang Ye punched Diavolo in the face. A serious punch. The violent force hit Diablo's face almost as if it were devastating, but to his surprise, Diavolo's hand reached out and blocked the punch. Boy, you are really awesome. But I have stayed here for so many years, and this is already my home court. After saying that, Diavolo lifted his feet and pulled him out of the trapped earth. Then he flicked his tail and whipped towards Fang Ye. Fang Ye hurriedly used his mental power to condense a shield in front of him. Boom! There was a dull crashing sound. Fang Ye's shield was actually penetrated by this blow, and he himself was knocked out by Diavolo's power. Haha! Diavolo laughed, it opened its big mouth, aimed at Fang Ye, and spit out a fireball. Fang Ye immediately evaded when he saw this, but the fireball followed him closely like maggots attached to his bones and kept bombarding him. Fang Ye quickly released a fire power to resist the fireball. Although the two fire powers were different, they actually cancelled each other out. Haha, boy, are you actually playing with fire in front of me? Don't you know that I am the demon god of hell? Diavolo opened his mouth again and sprayed out a stream of black and red flames. Snort. Fang Ye snorted coldly, and his figure blurred instantly. Diavolo's flames flew away. Snort. You can't escape this time, I will burn you to ashes. Diavolo opened his mouth wide and his eyes glowed red. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dimensional Chosen, only I know Saitama is the strongest. Author, Mungbean Garden. Chapter 436. Yeah. You are very powerful, but I am not weak either. Let's see who is stronger. Fang Ye said coldly. When I catch you, I'm going to devour you. After saying that, Diavolo rushed towards Fang Ye. Holy text, the power of thunder. Fang Ye roared, his fists mixed with thunder, and then he punched Diavolo hard. He knew that Diavolo in front of him was just a ray of spiritual power, not even a projection, but he couldn't underestimate it. Therefore, Fang Ye did not hesitate immediately and immediately displayed the power of the holy words. Originally he had Saitama's physique, and his speed and strength were extremely powerful. Now coupled with the power of the holy text, it can be said that the two superimposed on each other, causing his speed to reach an extremely terrifying situation. In almost the blink of an eye, Diablo was already in front of him. When Diavolo tried to dodge, it was already too late. Boom! Diavolo flew backwards, his chest was dented, and blood flowed out uncontrollably. Fang Ye's punch was so powerful that it directly injured Diavolo. Fang Ye snorted coldly, and then appeared in front of Diavolo with a shudder. Then he grabbed Diablo's shoulder and punched him hard. Click. There was a crisp sound of bones breaking, and Diavolo's shoulder blades had been blown open by Fang Ye. Diavolo screamed and trembled all over, seemingly in great pain. "I am going to kill you!" Diavolo screamed, and then bit Fang Ye fiercely. Snort. "I don't know how high the sky is and how high it is." Fang Ye snorted coldly, made a fist with his right hand, and punched Diavolo on the forehead. Boom! Diavolo's head was smashed by Fang Ye's punch and turned into countless small black particles, which quickly dispersed. Fang Ye looked at Diavolo gradually disappearing and breathed a sigh of relief. Well, it seems that Diavolo's mental power has not grown up yet. If it takes a while, it may be difficult to deal with it. But in this way, Diavolo was eliminated, and he could no longer use Leia's body to resurrect him. At this time, due to Diavolo's death, the entire dark space gradually disappeared. Fang Ye naturally didn't want to stay any longer, so he immediately let his mental power withdraw. Back at the cow slaughter hotel, Fang Ye opened his eyes and saw that Leia had also woken up. "My head hurts so much." Leia covered her head and said in pain. "Are you okay?" "I feel that there is a dark force hidden in your body, so I have helped you exorcise it." Fang Ye said calmly. "Is it? No wonder I used to always have headaches." Leia stood up. She felt refreshed and the pain in her head gradually eased. "Did you help me?" "Thank you so much." "You are welcome. This is what should be done." Fang Ye waved his hand. "Leia, I remember you said that your grandfather Deckard Cain is still in the cathedral, right? How about I help you rescue him?" Fang Ye suggested. "Really? But the road to the cathedral is not safe, there are a lot of zombies and other things, I'm afraid." Leia hesitated again. "Don't worry, as long as I'm here, nothing will happen. I am very powerful." Fang Ye said, patting his chest. He was naturally confident in saying this. After all, he had just defeated Diavolo, the biggest boss in Diablo. What follows are some mere miscellaneous soldiers and monsters, not worth mentioning at all. "Yeah, that's great. I want to go with you. Don't look down on me just because I'm a girl, I've also practiced some archery skills." Leia took out a bow from her back and pulled it skillfully a few times with very standard movements. Fang Ye naturally knew about this, and he also thought about taking Leia with him. On the one hand, he could go to Deckard Cain, but on the other hand, after expelling Diavolo just now, he wanted to observe Leia again to see if there would be any mistakes. "Okay, then I agree, but when you encounter danger, remember to stay by my side and don't go too far," Fang Ye warned. "Don't worry, I'm not a kid," Leia retorted. "We still need to see Captain Rumford though, I'm worried about the village's comfort," Leia reminded. "Okay, I understand." Fang Ye shook his head helplessly. Just now he wanted to take Leia directly to the cathedral without any prerequisite tasks. But unexpectedly, Leia came around. "Well, it looks like there's no way to skip the whole mission of helping Rumford. Without further ado, let's go find Captain Rumford now," Leia suggested. Fang Ye naturally agreed. He followed Leia and walked towards the entrance of the village. Before they reached it, Captain Rumford's voice was heard. "Oh my God, what is that?" "No, the northern defense line is about to be breached. Militiamen, stop them quickly, we must hold on." Fang Ye and Leia looked at each other and ran towards the door quickly. Sure enough, a large group of zombies rushed towards them. The militiamen couldn't resist it at all. They were so frightened that they backed away. No matter how loud Captain Rumford roared, it was of no avail. "You guys, don't stay here, it's dangerous." Captain Rumford couldn't help being surprised when he saw Leia and Fang Ye, and said hurriedly. But before he finished speaking, Fang Ye had already rushed over. Although these zombies are numerous in number, in Fan Ye's view, they are all vulnerable. Blazing fireball. He stretched out his hand and immediately released the fire power. For these undead creatures, the fire power is the best solution. I saw the blazing flames like cannonballs, rushing towards the zombies quickly, almost as long as if accidentally touched. These zombies will immediately turn into firemen, and then burn out. Turn into a pile of ashes. And Leah is also assisting. She uses her bow and arrow to aim at the heads of the zombies, and every arrow will hit the heads of zombies were smashed into pieces. Hundreds of zombies were completely wiped out in less than 30 seconds. This. Captain Rumford on the side was stunned. He had no idea that the person in front of him could be so powerful, almost destroying the zombies that they thought were very difficult to deal with. After seeing all these zombies destroyed, Captain Rumford breathed a sigh of relief. "Thank you, Leah, strangers. If it weren't for you, I really wouldn't know what to do just now." "You're welcome, Captain Rumford, this is what we should do." Lee put away her bow and arrows and said with a smile. Fan Ye on the side also nodded and said, "That's right, it's just a little effort." Just when Captain Rumford was about to say some words of thanks, he subconsciously looked up and couldn't help being surprised. "What it is?" Fan Ye turned around and saw a 2-meter tall female zombie staggering over. There were pustules all over her body. Every time she took a step, she would vomit yellow liquid, which was disgusting. Turns out to be the mother of distortion. "Fang," Ye said with a frown. "Dimensional chosen, only I know Saitama is the strongest." Author, Mungbean Garden. Chapter 437. Fan Ye found that the entire mother of distortion was completely different from before. He remembered that the entire mother of distortion was not what it looked like originally. He saw that the entire mother of distortion had a high bulge on its back, as if something was trying to get out. And the whole mother of distortion looks very painful. How is this going? Fan Ye was a little confused. At this moment, the mother of distortion suddenly let out a painful cry, her back split open, and another mother of distortion came out. They were back to back, with yellow pus flowing all over the floor, looking very disgusting. "What on earth is this?" Leah was startled. Captain Rumford was also shocked when he saw this. "What should we do now?" he said in panic. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." "Captain Rumford, hurry up and get the militiamen in. I'll handle it here," Fan Ye said in a deep voice. Although this mother of distortion looks very weird, she is no match for him no matter what. "Okay. Then it's all up to you." After Captain Rumford finished speaking, he immediately retreated from the village with the militiamen. He also knew that facing this powerful dark creature, mortals like them were no match at all and could only rely on the stranger in front of them. "What are you going to do?" Leah aimed her bow and arrow at the mother of distortion, turned her head slightly and said, "It's simple, burn it with fire." Fan Ye snorted coldly and used his fire power. I saw the blazing flames forming a fireball in the air, quickly approaching the mother of distortion. "Are you sure you can handle it?" Leah was a little skeptical. She was sure that if Fan Ye was really powerful, but the entire mother of distortion looked like a high-level dark creature, and she didn't know if Fan Ye could defeat it. "Don't worry, as long as it dares to come up, I will let it die very ugly," Fan Ye said in a relaxed tone. Seeing this, Leah could only nod her head and continue to pay attention to the movements over there, and would react immediately if there were any changes. The blazing flame instantly ignited the mother of distortion and turned into a huge fireball. The mother of distortion howled in pain in the flames, the sound extremely harsh. Leah couldn't help but cover her ears when she heard the sound. She had never seen the mother of distortion make such a sound. "It seems very painful," Leah whispered. "There is nothing that can be done about it. After all, they are still in great pain, so killing them will actually relieve them." Fan Ye comforted. He knew that Leah was a kind girl, so he spoke. At this time, the mother of distortion had been burned away by the flames, completely dissipated into nothingness, and ceased to exist. At this time, from the depression on the back of the mother of distortion, a mass of twisted flesh and blood slowly crawled out, and the ugly and ferocious heads also emerged from it. They seemed to be brewing something, as if they wanted to break through the flames, block and flee elsewhere. But it was soon burned to ashes by Fan Ye's flames. This skill of yours is amazing. Leah couldn't help but said. He. Fan Ye smiled and did not answer Lia's words. Now that the dark creatures here have been cleared, they can continue to the cathedral. Let's go to the cathedral and save your grandpa Deckard Cain. Leah nodded, agreeing with what Fan Ye said. The two of them walked along the road towards the cathedral. At this time, all the creatures here have been mutated, and countless zombies and dark creatures are wandering here. Fan Ye showed great power, using the power of fire and thunder to kill the monsters almost one-sidedly. Although there are some elite monsters, all of them are no match for Fan Ye. He couldn't even receive a single punch, and he was advancing like a torrent. However, there is still a long way to go before the cathedral, so Fan Ye is not in a hurry and can just proceed slowly. After about half an hour, Leah suddenly pointed to a hut in the wasteland and said, "Look, there is a hut there. I remember that during the retreat, former militia Captain Dalton once led the militia to resist in that hut. We went there have a look." After saying that, Leah ran over immediately. Fan Ye followed closely. In fact, in the plot, the militia captain was already dead, and he was still a powerful leader-level monster. This guy moves very fast, has high attack power, and can also use ice hockey magic. It can be said that he is a very difficult opponent in the early stage. But fortunately, his vitality is very weak, so I have to be careful, there must be no problem. Fan Ye was afraid that something might happen to Leah, so he followed carefully. Sure enough, when Leah opened the door, several zombies wearing militia clothes suddenly rushed over. Careful! Fan Ye hurried over and released his fire power. The flames roared and flew towards the zombies, but to Fan Ye's surprise, the zombies suddenly stopped. Then a relatively thin zombie used his body to block the fireball released by Fan Ye. Huh! Fan Ye looked at the zombies and felt very strange. His original plan was to kill them all with a fireball. But these zombies made him feel as if they had wisdom. They actually arranged for a thin zombie to die and resist Fan Ye's attack. This was something he had never encountered before. Have these zombies unlocked wisdom? Fan Ye found it unbelievable. Now he saw that the eyes of these zombies were extremely scarlet and looked very scary. Seeing this, Leah was also shocked, and she quickly hid behind Fan Ye. What are they? I find them weird. Leah asked. I don't know, it looks a little weird. Fan Ye said with a frown. What should we do, or let's get out of here? Leah said worriedly. No. There's something weird about this whole place, and we gotta get to the bottom of it. Fan Ye shook his head. At this moment, he suddenly saw a zombie running towards him among the zombies. He looked at Leah and couldn't help but smile when he saw the nervous look on her face. Don't be afraid, I can handle them. As he said that, Fan Ye jumped up, jumped directly onto the monster's head, and punched it with his right hand. Phew! The monster's head exploded instantly, but the monster was not dead yet and continued to struggle. The vitality is so tenacious. Fan Ye shook his head and prepared to attack again, but he suddenly saw that the entire zombie under his feet was about to expand. Seeing this scene, Fan Ye's face suddenly changed. No, this zombie is going to explode. Fan Ye was taken aback and hurriedly retreated, but in the end it was a step too late. Then a bang was heard, and the zombie exploded, with pieces of flesh and black blood flying everywhere. A dark power spread. Dimensional chosen, only I know Saitama is the strongest. Author, Mungbean Garden. Chapter 438. Although Fang Ye was at the center of the explosion, he was originally very strong and had a variety of abilities, so he would not suffer any injuries at all. Psychological barrier. He snorted coldly and immediately used his telekinesis to build a barrier to protect Leah to block the impact. This mental barrier is only one of his most basic abilities, and there are many other abilities that can be used. For example, the mental barrier just now can protect Leah from being harmed. Of course, not everyone can master this ability, but Fang Ye happens to have a strong talent, so he mastered the key. Fang Ye, who was at the center of the explosion, saw the black mist coming towards him. He snorted coldly and quickly retreated with Leah. But those zombies rushed towards Fang Ye one by one, and as they rushed for too long, their bodies expanded rapidly. Boom! There was a deafening loud noise, and a 3-meter wide gap suddenly opened in the ground, and countless pieces of earth and stone rolled up. Fang Ye also took the opportunity to step back. At this moment, another violent explosion came, and Fang Ye hurriedly dodged. Boom! There was another loud noise, and a circle about 15 centimeters in diameter was exploded. Damn it! Are these zombies finished yet? Fang Ye couldn't help but curse. Although the explosion of these zombies did not cause any harm to him at all, the smell after the explosion was very unpleasant. The whole place was filled with a rotten smell, which made people sick to smell it. This affects people's mood. For a while, Fang Ye's mood was extremely bad. At this time, a short, black zombie also rushed towards Fang Ye. This zombie looks very fierce, with black smoke coming out of its mouth and nostrils, and it looks like a big furnace. Fang Ye hurriedly jumped to the side to avoid the big furnace. At this time, another monster also rushed over. At the same time, several zombies also followed and rushed towards Fang Ye. These monsters are really not afraid of death. Fang Ye snorted coldly. A serious punch. Fang Ye directly released his killing move. I saw a powerful shockwave emanating from the fist, smashing all the zombies into pieces, even destroying the hut without losing its power. Moreover, a gully more than 10 meters wide was created. Hey, what is that? Leah was startled. She pointed to the original location of the cabin and said, I saw this dark cave somewhere, exuding a cold and dark atmosphere. Fang Ye narrowed his eyes and heard the sound of armors clashing with each other from the cave. Then a giant zombie wearing armor and holding a sword came out, followed by 20 or 30 zombies. It's Captain Dalton, he actually became. Leah looked at the giant zombie, startled, and then couldn't help but feel sad. Captain Dalton was here to fight the zombies with some militiamen for the sake of the villagers, but he didn't expect that he would end up like this. There is something unusual about the whole zombie thing. Fang Ye looked at the zombies and said solemnly. Haha, outsider, although you have destroyed a ray of my clone, I am immortal. In the near future, I will eventually rule the entire world again. Captain Dalton raised his head and looked at Fang Ye with a hint of ridicule on his face. Diavolo! Fang Ye said in a deep voice. Although he also knew that he had destroyed a ray of Diavolo's clone in Leia's body, he did not expect to encounter it so soon. It seems that a trace of Diavolo's spiritual power is possessing Captain Dalton. This guy is really haunted. Fang Ye frowned and looked at the giant zombie in front of him warily. I will kill you now and take away my container. Captain Dalton, who was possessed by Diavolo, roared, picked up the giant sword and slashed at Fang Ye. Fang Ye hurriedly turned sideways to avoid it, then he opened his hand and countless fireballs flew towards it at high speed. But Captain Dalton was very agile. He turned around and easily avoided Fang Ye's attack and launched a counter-attack against him. The big sword in his hand was swung, and it was like a violent storm, constantly hitting Fang Ye. At this time, Leah was already standing in the distance. Seeing Fanya in trouble, she couldn't help but become worried. At this moment, Fanya suddenly rushed over, his two fists emitting blazing flames. Fire punch! Fanya roared and punched Captain Dalton's chest, which immediately made a dent in his chest and blood spurted out. Captain Dalton screamed in pain. But the many zombies behind him seemed to have lost their rationality, and they attacked Fanya crazily one by one, with a desperate posture. Not good. Fanya's expression changed slightly. When he saw the zombies rushing towards him desperately, he hurriedly hid behind them. At this moment, several more flames were thrown at the zombies. Bang bang bang. The zombies were scorched by the flames and turned into a pile of ashes. Now, the remaining zombies didn't dare to step forward anymore. Fanya breathed a sigh of relief when he saw this. He knew that these zombies should be restrained by the flames in his body. However, his mood was not at all relaxed, because these zombies did not know the concept of death at all, and they seemed to be unconscious. The most important thing is that they may have been improved by Diavolo, and they may not be ordinary zombies. At this time, Captain Dalton stood up, snorted, and released his ice hockey magic. I saw those ice balls spinning continuously in the air, then getting bigger and bigger, and finally turned into a huge ice pick and hit Fanya. Fanya hurriedly punched it and defeated the huge ice pick, but then more ice cubes smashed towards him, hitting him densely, making a sound like fried beans. At this time, Captain Dalton rushed towards him again brandishing his sword. Moreover, the zombies around it rushed towards Fanya again, and their bodies expanded again, looking like they were about to explode. Fanya hurriedly took a few steps back. But he didn't expect that Captain Dalton would charge over again. Get back here! Fanya gave a low shout, then jumped up, and rolled a flame tornado towards Captain Dalton. Captain Dalton was swept into the sea of fire, and his body burned rapidly. However, Captain Dalton is now possessed by Diavolo and is not afraid of any fire at all. It swung its sword and struck Fanya's head hard. The speed is extremely fast, and it seems to be mixed with a strange dark force. Not good. Fanya quickly teleported and avoided the blow. Then he found the flaw and punched out his special move. A serious punch. The powerful aura of destruction instantly enveloped Captain Dalton and the remaining zombies. They almost didn't even resist for a second before they were completely reduced to ashes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Dimensional Chosen, only I know Saitama is the strongest. Author, Mungbean Garden. Chapter 439. Solved. Fanya breathed a sigh of relief. Although Captain Dalton, who was possessed by Diavolo, was indeed powerful, he was still no match for him. It can even be said that it didn't take much effort at all. This surprised Fanya a little. He originally thought that Diavolo wanted to teach himself a lesson by doing this. After all, he had previously eliminated the trace of Diavolo's soul clone left in Leia. Coupled with the situation in the Death God world, it has reached the point where fire and water are incompatible. Therefore, such a simple solution to Captain Dalton and his men really left Fanya scratching his head. Now that that's out of the way, Leia, let's move on to the cathedral. After Fanya finished speaking, he turned around and found that Leia had passed out and a woman was grabbing her shoulders. I saw this woman holding a staff in her hand and wearing a red wandering robe, with a hood covering her face. Who are you, Adelia? Fanya was surprised. This person is none other than Leia's mother, Adelia. Haha, I didn't expect you to know me. I remember we never met. Adelia raised her head, looked at Fanya and said calmly. What do you want Leia to do? Fanya looked at Adelia warily. You must know that although Adelia is Leia's mother, she is secretly loyal to the three demon gods of hell, Mephisto, Baal, and Diavolo. She also deliberately combined with the protagonist of the generation to give birth to Leah. It is Diavolo's resurrection vessel. So it's definitely not a good thing for her to catch Leah now. What do I want to do? You ruined my plan and you still ask me? Adelia said with a sneer. You care about her so much. Do you think you have fallen in love with her? If you are willing to serve Diavolo, I would be happy to do so. Fanya chuckled. Allegiance to Diavolo? Stop being delusional. Let Leah go quickly, otherwise don't blame me for being rude to you. Fanya's eyes showed strong murderous intent. It has to be said that Adelia is a ruthless person who is willing to use her daughter as Diavolo's resurrection vessel. So it is not a pity for such a person to die. Kill me? I advise you not to move. Otherwise I will kill Leah. Adelia said with a sneer. The sharp nails of her fingers immediately penetrated Leah's white neck. If she moved forward a little further, she would pierce Leah's neck. Fanya threw himself into a trap and did not dare to act rashly. That's it? Adelia smiled with satisfaction. To be honest, little brother, I admire you. You can discover the conspiracy I have been planning for a long time, which is really surprising. But never mind, I have a backup plan. You must know that Leah is not the only vessel that resurrected Diavolo. Fanya was surprised. He looked at Adelia with a trace of confusion on his face. He didn't expect that there was such a thing. You know, there is no such plot in Diablo 3. If you want Leah, it's not like I can't give it to you. But there must be one thing in exchange. Adelia looked at Fanya and said. What do you want? Fanya said in a deep voice. It's simple, Kane's diary. If you give me that thing, I will let Leah go. Kane's diary? Fanya frowned. He had no idea that what Adelia wanted was the whole thing. Kane's diary is a diary written by Leah's grandfather, Deckard Cain. It records many events in Diablo. It is just a diary. What do you want this for? Fanya was a little strange. You don't have to worry about this. Now Deckard Cain has been captured by Skeleton King. As long as you rescue Deckard Cain from Skeleton King and give me Kane's diary, I will let Leah go. Adelia spoke. Fanya was silent. Although he didn't know what Adelia wanted to do with Kane's diary, it wasn't a good thing to think about it with his toes. But if she refuses, then Leah might be killed by her now. Although Fanya is now using his full strength and is 80% sure that he can save Leah, there is also a 20% chance of failure. You must know that Adelia is not a simple and ordinary NPC. She is a follower of the three demon gods. She also has the power of demons and can transform demons. In Diablo, he is also a boss-level character. So Fanya thought about it and finally agreed. Good. I promise you, but when I get Kane's diary, how should I approach you? Fanya asked. Haha, no need to try to find my hiding place, kid. I'll show up when you get Kane's diary, and I'll be waiting for your good news. After Adelia finished speaking, she took Leah and gradually disappeared. Fanya was left standing alone. It seems that I was careless. Diavolo possessed Captain Dalton's body. In fact, it seemed to attract my attention, so that I had no time to take care of Leah, which allowed Adelia to take the opportunity to catch Leah. I didn't expect them to move so fast. Fanya snorted coldly. But it doesn't matter, as long as I find Tyrell, I will have strong support, and I can take the opportunity to save Leah. No matter what, we must first save Deckard Cain and Tyrell. Thinking of this, Fanya immediately flew towards the cathedral without hesitation. Now according to Adelia, Deckard Cain has been captured by Skeleton King. If he wants to get Kane's diary, then he must rescue Deckard Cain from Skeleton King as soon as possible. Time is running out, and there is no time for him to waste it. Cathedral. Fanya quickly walked through the cathedral, and there were demons and dark creatures everywhere along the way. He struck without mercy, using his fire powers and telekinesis to kill him almost instantly. I have to say that there are really many monsters in the cathedral. For Diablo 3, it is a very important monster spawning dungeon. There are simply countless monsters here. Even though Fang came all the way, there were still countless monsters inside. Even Fang felt like the more he killed, the more he killed. Damn, are there so many monsters here? When I played this level before, I remember there weren't so many. Fang was on the first floor of the cathedral, looking at the black monsters and frowning. And Fang also noticed that there were even several elite-level dark creatures here. One of them was the King of Plague, who had been having a lot of headaches in the dark before. The whole monster is very disgusting. It has some poisonous and plague-like skills. As long as it is hit a little, it will continue to lose blood. Moreover, the blood is still falling more and more, with almost no upper limit. Among its skills, there are countless plague hands from the depths of the ground. This move is almost a large-scale, blind angle attack, which is very disgusting. Dimensional chosen, only I know Saitama is the strongest. Author, Mung Garden. Chapter 440. Damn it, it's blocking the passage. It seems that the only way to get through is to kill it. Fang said with a frown. At this time, the Plague King had also discovered Fang. It roared and countless dark creatures rushed toward Fang like a tide. Huh, wall of flames. Fang snorted coldly and directly released his fire power. He saw a blazing wall of fire standing in front of him, burning all the dark creatures rushing towards him to ashes. Snort. I don't believe I can't cure you little bugs. Fang continued to rush forward and rushed towards the King of Plague. Upon seeing this, the Plague King immediately used his powerful poison skills, and saw countless black powder floating towards Fang. These black powders exude a foul odor and are highly corrosive, making people want to vomit when they smell them. Seeing this, Fang quickly used the power of thought in his body to form a vacuum zone to resist the black poison. This stink is so unpleasant. Fang said with a frown. Although the poison of the Plague King is powerful, it has not yet reached the level where it can corrode the mind. Humph, are you worthy of dealing with me with your little tricks like this? Fang snorted coldly and punched out. Kill the dark creatures that take the opportunity to pounce one by one. At this time, the King of Plague couldn't help but became furious when he saw that his skills had failed to win the karma. It opened its mouth, and a huge black mist spurted out of its mouth. This black mist instantly became huge, with a diameter of about 5 meters, and turned into boundless black clouds in the sky. This black mist shrouded directly towards Fang. When Fang saw this, his face suddenly condensed. This is an extremely large-scale poisonous gas controlled by the King of Plague. Once the terrifying poisonous mist touches the body, even the strongest person may not be able to withstand it for long. Fang quickly activated his fire power to the extreme. His body instantly burst into flames. The power of the flames formed a ring of fire around him, blocking out the poisonous mist. In this way, the poisonous mist of the King of Epidemic will not harm Fang. The Plague King became even more angry when he saw that his poisonous mist could not help Fang. He shouted loudly and stretched out a big black foot from the poisonous mist. As its big feet stretched out, the soil on the ground shattered, and a huge black hole appeared in the earth, extending deep into the ground. The earth suddenly trembled, and countless monsters emerged from the earth. These monsters are all black monsters. They have one thing in common, that is, they are completely black and covered with pustules. Even their skin is green and looks very disgusting. The strength of these monsters is the best among dark creatures, and they generally have elite level strength. The moment they saw Fang, they rushed in frantically, trying to tear Fang into pieces. But under the isolation of Fang Yi's fire ring, no matter how many they rushed up, they were not burned out and turned into ashes. Something strange. Fang Ye looked at King Epidemic and frowned. He found that the skills used by the Plague King were completely different from those he had played in the game before. It can even be said that he has never seen the skills used by King Plague now. Could it be that the world has changed? Fang Ye guessed. In the past, the world of death was like this. As long as he entered the forbidden area and changed the original plot, the subsequent plot would be completely different from before. Is it the same in the dark world? Fang Ye was a little unsure. But now was the critical moment, and he couldn't allow him to think too much. He stretched out his left hand fiercely, and a flaming sword appeared in his hand. This flaming sword is also surrounded by a layer of flame runes. It is obviously a very powerful magic weapon. Fang Ye waved the flaming sword and directly wiped out all the creatures in front of him. Then Fang Ye slashed at the King of Epidemic fiercely. Boom! King Plague's body was struck by this blow, and he immediately let out a scream. Its body burned violently, and it had no choice but to start rolling on the ground. The pustules on its body continued to emit white smoke, and then disappeared. But the Plague King has a strong vitality. After a while, the flames on the Plague King's body slowly extinguished, and the burnt parts of his body gradually recovered. Seeing this, Fang Ye couldn't help but be surprised that King Plague's vitality was so tenacious. However, at this time, King Plague seemed to know that he could not defeat Fang Ye. It flicked its tail, swept away all the monsters around it, and then ran away. Humph, I still want to run. Fang Ye snorted coldly and chased after him. He had already tried the poisonous gas on the Plague King, but it did not have much impact on the Plague King, so he was not too worried. After all, the poisonous gas on the Plague King was the original power of the Plague King. After Fang Ye caught up with the Plague King, he struck him down with his sword. Bang! This sword struck the King of Plague hard on his back. Poof! Fang Ye used too much force and cut off the bones of King Plague, causing blood to spurt out. The Plague King let out a shrill roar and struggled desperately. Unfortunately, it was seriously injured and was no match for Fang Ye. You guy, you still want to struggle? Fang Ye sneered, turned the flaming sword, and thrust it into King Plague's back. The Plague King's back was immediately pierced. At this time, the Plague King let out a shrill howl. Following the shrill howl of the Plague King's body quickly succumbed, and finally fell straight to the ground, no longer moving. Fang Ye took back the flaming sword and breathed a sigh of relief. It seems relatively simple. Before he finished speaking, he discovered that the dead body of King Plague had changed. The entire belly expanded rapidly, and the black skin gradually became transparent due to the rapid expansion. Inside, Fang Ye could clearly see the green liquid flowing rapidly inside. No, it's going to explode. Fang Ye was taken aback and quickly backed away. Only a bang was heard, and King Plague's entire stomach exploded. The poison violently splashed in all directions, and countless dark creatures were caught off guard and received a few drops of venom. These few drops of venom contained huge destructive power, directly corroding the bodies of these dark creatures into a pile of rotten flesh. Fang Ye felt that if he had been slow to dodge just now, he would have been splashed with a few drops of venom. Fortunately, he hid quickly. But now the entire passage has been eroded by poison, and there is no clean place left. It's so difficult to deal with, even if you die, you still want to disgust me. Fang Ye cursed secretly. However, there was nothing that could stop him. He directly activated his mind power and immediately cleared a clean passage. He held his breath, quickly got into the passage, and left here. After Fang Ye arrived at the next location, he greedily breathed in the breath inside. It almost choked me to death. Sure enough, there is indeed a big gap between games and reality. Playing games before was not fun, but here, I almost got smoked to death. If you really don't faint and let these monsters take advantage, you will suffer a big loss. Fang Ye shook his head and continued to move forward. Although the entire cathedral was disgusting, he had no choice but to move forward for the sake of Leah.